Shalom, shalom. I wanted to apologize in advance if it takes me a little bit longer to upload these videos than usual. We are just to a point in the story that is very, very tragic and very heavy, and so some days mentally I just am not in a place where I want to come on here and talk about this with you. But today I am, so let's continue. So it's February 28th, 1993, and the ATF has arrived at Mount Carmel. We are going to be talking about specifically the agents that are around the building that David Koresh was in. ATF agents began to make their way down the west side of the building, and Branch Davidians fired on them, and an ATF agent was shot and killed. He was the first ATF agent to be mortally wounded during this siege. Also, at this point, they brought in helicopters to fly over the property, and the Branch Davidians began firing at the helicopters. Nobody on the helicopters were injured, but the helicopters did end up leaving because they were taking fire. While this was happening on the west side of the building, agents on the east side of the building were putting ladders up against it so that they could access the roof, because they believed that there was a window there that led to the room where David Koresh was, as well as an armory. 3 agents were able to use these ladders to access the roof, and they were able to get to the window before they were fired on. Upon being fired on, one of them was injured, one of them ended up passing away, and the third one managed to escape. That third agent from the roof ended up joining other agents who were trying to find the armory. Agents ended up throwing a flashbang grenade through the window so that they could access the armory, but upon entering, there was a Branch Davidian in there who fired at them, and one of the agents was injured. That injured agent was able to make it back to safety. One of the agents was armed with a shotgun, and he opened fire on the Branch Davidians, who fired back at him, and this agent also was hit and killed. As the agents made it further into the armory, they were able to see some weapons, but there were Branch Davidians in there who were firing back at them, and eventually they had to retreat. The last agent to leave the armory did fatally wound one of the Branch Davidians on his way out, and then he hit his head on a beam and fell off the roof, but he did survive. As these agents were making their way back to safety, another agent was giving them cover fire, but that agent was also fatally wounded by return fire from the Branch Davidians. At this point, the ATF agents began taking cover behind the Branch Davidians' vehicles that were parked on the property.